Large deals were also concluded with Myanmar, the Republic of Korea, Brazil, Germany, and Egypt. Relations with Serbia have been expanding, also in such fields as technology, tourism, and urban infrastructure. The volume of trade turnover of St. Petersburg in 2024 increased by 9% compared to 2023 and amounted to $56.7 billion. The value of exports increased by 8.6% and amounted to $29 billion. Exports continued to grow to $27 billion. That's an increase of around 9%. The Leningrad region strengthened its cooperation with its Azerbaijani, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and South Ossetian partners. It is planned to sign agreements with the Republic of Abkhazia, regions of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Syria, and the Republic of South Africa. The region's foreign trade turnover in 2024 slowed its decline to 5.1% and amounted to $10.7 billion. The largest trading partners are China, Turkey, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Brazil, India, and Vietnam. The total share of trade with these countries is 75.6%. The Leningrad region also occupies one of the leading positions in terms of growth of trade turnover with Belarus. Joint projects are being implemented in the area of construction, production of agriculture, and municipal equipment. In general, the Leningrad region and St. Petersburg are leaders in building up the constructual and legal frameworks for interregular cooperations. New agreements are achieved with friendly countries, and also St. Petersburg and the Leningrad region continue to maintain close contacts with compatriots in the Baltics who faced persecution by Russophobic regimes due to their unwillingness to take an anti-Russian position. They don't want to deny things that are part of their philosophy. They are prosecuted for that. And the Russian regions, of course, are busy also celebrating the 80th anniversary of the Great Patriotic War. These celebrations were visited by delegations from Abkhazia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. And the survivors of the siege and veterans living abroad made their contributions to preserving the sacred memory of the feat of the generation of victors by taking an active part in these celebrations.
On the 23rd of June, Sergei Lavrov will take part in the 11th Annual Scientific and Expert Forum, Primakov Readings, which is organized by the Primakov National Research Institute of World Economy and International Relations at the Russian Academy of Sciences. Every year, for many years, this forum has been gathering influential policymakers and economists and international scientists from around the world, and this forum takes a special place among such events. Let me remind you that Evgeny Primakov predicted back in the 1990s that multipolarity would become a key trend in global development. At that moment, it was a revolutionary, truly revolutionary concept that he was promoting as Minister of Foreign Affairs, the position he held from 1996 to 1998. The current state of affairs in the international arena has fully confirmed the political foresight of Evgeny Maximovich. And in his speech at the readings, Sergei Lavrov will assess current international events and talk about foreign policy priorities. And of course, there will be discussions as part of which he will take questions. On the 24th, 25th June, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation will pay an official visit to Turkmenistan, during which he will hold talks with the President of Turkmenistan and Deputy Chairman of the Cabinet of Ministers. There will be high-level contacts. The parties will discuss political contacts at the highest levels, the development of bilateral relations, including cooperation in the trade and others. An exchange of views will take place on issues of the region.
политического диалога, торгово-экономической кооперации, взаимодействия в области обороны и безопасности, гуманитарной.
To promote political dialogue, trade and economic cooperation will be discussed. The Middle East, which was caused by the unprovoked aggression against the sovereign UN member state, Iran, undertaken by Israel in violation of the UN Charter and norms of international law. Of course, you are familiar with two statements by the statements of the Russian Foreign Ministry, which decisively condemn this criminal gamble fraught with catastrophic consequences for regional and global security in general. Attempts to justify it with imaginary non-proliferation concerns are, of course, outright cynicism. Let me remind you that as of the 13th of June, and this is proof of the above argument, it was the time of the first strikes on Iranian territory, and at that moment an intensive, albeit naturally complicated, negotiation process was going in the form of indirect Iranian and American contacts with the assistance of Oman. And the next round of this substantive dialogue was scheduled for the 15th of June, for which Tehran prepared a number of proposals intended to bring the desired outcome closer. And the session of the IAEA Board of Governors was also in full swing, which discussed the issues of the Iranian nuclear program. As a result of Israel's actions, the multilateral efforts initiated with considerable difficulty, aimed at reducing confrontation, finding reliable and agreed solutions to eliminate unfounded suspicions and prejudices about the Iranian peaceful aim, have been undermined and set back. Isn't this what West Jerusalem was trying to deliberately achieve, making a conscious choice in favor of escalating tensions and disrupting peace efforts? Many are posing this question, asking themselves this question. The hypocrisy of the leaders of individual countries is also striking. And by diligently fanning anti-Iranian hysteria, they actually incited Israel. And now they're demanding that the Iranians, however strange it may seem, return to the negotiating table. So we are anxiously following the ongoing military operations, and we can see numerous fatalities, the lives claimed of civilians, and we can see an attack on the objects, nuclear installations, nuclear sites, which poses a risk to global security, and actually keeps us on the brink of a catastrophe whose implications will be felt everywhere, even in Israel. And Russia calls on the Israeli leadership to come to senses and immediately stop attacks on nuclear installations and sites under safeguards and subject to IAEA verification activities. And we're particularly concerned about the safety of the Bushehr nuclear power plant, which employs Russian specialists. The harsh and irreconcilable reaction of the world's majority countries to Israeli attacks on Iran's territory, including nuclear energy infrastructure, coupled with the results of an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council on June 13th and a special session of the IAEA Board of Governors on June 16th, indicate a rejection of the confrontational course and destructive actions of the Israeli leadership. They find understanding and support only from those states that are its actual accomplices. Today, the main thing is to prevent further spiraling of violence, to achieve ceasefire and restore peace, which in turn will create the prerequisites for bringing the situation back to the negotiation table. We are actually ready to take diplomatic efforts, and we are making them in this direction. As you know, The Russian President Vladimir Putin had telephone conversations with Israeli Prime Minister, President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The next day, Vladimir Putin had talks with U.S. President, and there were contacts with the President of Turkey, President of United Arab Emirates. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held telephone conversations with the heads of foreign ministries of Iran, Turkey, Egypt, Oman. The current crisis in the Middle East was also touched upon in a telephone conversation between our Russian Foreign Minister and Foreign Minister of Azerbaijan, and in talks with Indonesian Foreign Minister. As you know, these are high-level, ministerial-level negotiations and telephone contacts. All of them are ongoing, even these particular hours at this particular time. We hope that the understanding that there is no alternative to finding mutually acceptable negotiated solutions to existing problems will prevail. We will continue to support the goals of resolving the issue of the Iranian nuclear program with due reliance on international law, the principle of equal and indivisible security, as well as with mutual consideration and calibrated balance of interests. We would like to particularly warn Washington against military intervention in the situation, which would be an extremely dangerous step with truly unpredictable negative consequences. Russia notes the clear statements by the Iranian side about its continued commitment to the obligations under the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons and its readiness to resume contacts with the United States to work out possible solutions to remove any unfounded suspicions and prejudices regarding Tehran's nuclear program, given that Israeli attacks stop. Moscow supports this attitude and firmly believes that the desired settlement can be reliably achieved only through diplomacy and negotiations. The goals of nuclear non-proliferation, the fundamental basis of which is the Non-Proliferation Treaty, should not be achieved through aggression and at the cost of innocent victims. And now let's speak about the work also done by Russian diplomats.
To promote the leaving of Russian citizens from non-safe and quite dangerous areas that were mentioned above. Our embassies, our general consulates are working on this, of course being closely controlled by the Russian administration. The Foreign Ministry of Russia, Russian embassies in Kuwait, Iran, and other countries are working to evacuate Russian officials from there as soon as possible. In total, from June the 14th, from Iran, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, in order to leave these countries, around 550 people, including some filmmakers, tourists, oil producers, and just civilians left these countries. Israel has been left by also a large number of Russian citizens. They also left from airports of Egypt and other countries, and the Ministry of Economy of the Russian Federation recommended to stop selling tours to Israel. Right now, there are several routes to evacuate. There are, of course, risks and dangers on the road, and these need to be considered. There are practical recommendations. We publish them. We keep publishing them. So please follow the Telegram channels of Russian Tehran embassies, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There are also 3 crossings: Burbulag, Bezaragan, Ipokurazi, Sinderesero. And from Israel, there is the checkpoint with Egypt that works 24 hours, where you can also leave. And also in Jordan, from 9 a.m. to 16 o'clock, and also Itzhak Rabin from Baku to Russia. There are up to 20 flights a day operated by Aeroflot and other Russian companies, as well as Azerbaijan Airlines from Yerevan. There are up to 20 flights. There are several airlines from Cairo, that is 5 flights by Egypt Air, but the situation is changing very quickly, so we recommend our citizens to follow up with the information on the internet websites of the Foreign Ministry. That's our official Telegram channel, our website, as well as our embassies channels in these countries. And you can call the emergency numbers in Iran, Azerbaijan, Egypt, Jordan, and of course all of our embassies have their emergency numbers that you can reach. And of course, there is a hotline that works 24 hours of the Foreign Ministry. There is an app that we also have to help you abroad. And of course, today we will publish the links in our briefing as well. We want to express our gratitude to the administration of these countries helping us to organize these missions. And of course, during the escalation, of course, especially during the first days, we are working promptly with the Baku authorities. Today, the border there was crossed by almost 500 Russian citizens, and they are very grateful for the hospitality that was shown to them by the Azerbaijani people. Also, our Russian Tchaikovsky orchestra was given a special concert in Azerbaijan on the one of these days, and you see that sometimes in our everyday life that does not have any war or any escalation, it is hard to find common language with people, but sometimes the situation is completely opposite. When we don't know what's happening next, whether we will stay alive, how to reach the loved ones. In these situations that we are now seeing, people being underground, hiding from airstrikes, suddenly such true humanism comes to the surface. The best that we have in us manifests itself in such dramatic situations, and we are very grateful to everyone who keeps helping. The escalation in the Middle East that led to the closure of airspace in most of the countries of this region made it hard for all the crews of Russian planes stuck in the region. I wonder if people who started all of this made any thought about this to themselves. And for example, a flight, the Air Sibir, that had an emergency landing in Ashgabat, and we are very grateful to the Turkmenistan's authorities for promptly helping the passengers of that flight. We call to Russian citizens to abstain from any travel to these regions because they stay dangerous. If you cannot leave, then do not approach, do not come close to military objects, do not take any videos, photos, avoid crowds, follow the rules issued by the government, and go to any underground shelters that you can find. And we promptly publish updates on the situation. Now to the Ukrainian crisis. Russia has almost finished fulfilling the obligations as a goodwill gesture. The repatriation of 6,060 bodies of dead Ukrainian servicemen was organized. 78 bodies of our fighters were handed over to us. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed its readiness to transfer another 2,239 bodies of Ukrainian soldiers in Kiev. The parity exchange of seriously ill and wounded soldiers, as well as young soldiers under the age of 25, continues. I will remind you that these were initiatives of Russia. It takes place in several stages. It is expected that at least 1,000 people will return home from each side. There is a list of 339 Ukrainian children. I would like to remind you that they were not stolen, not kidnapped, not forcibly moved. These children